Have you ever felt like you're standing in front of a door and no one has given you the key? You knock and knock again, but no one answers. You peek through the crack and see everything you've ever longed for, waiting just on the other side: a meaningful career, a fulfilling relationship, a life of freedom and deep joy. But the door remains shut, and slowly doubt creeps in. Am I not good enough? Maybe I wasn't meant for success. But that's not the truth. The door to success is not locked. It's simply waiting for you to speak the right soul password. And today I want to show you the spiritual secret that Florence Scovel Shinn left behind a door that is invisible but deeply powerful. A door that opens the moment you speak, not from fear, but from faith. Florence called it the secret door to success. But this door doesn't open with logic. It doesn't need degrees or accolades. It opens only when your heart believes and your words resonate at the frequency of the universe. Imagine this world as a grand stage. Success isn't about overperforming or pretending to be someone you're not. It comes when you remember your divine role, the one your soul was scripted to play. Florence wrote, "There is a divine design for each person. Each of us carries a sacred blueprint written by the Creator, but you cannot step into that role if you're still trapped in fear, jealousy, resentment, or lack. Those are the walls of Jericho." A spiritual metaphor Florence used to describe the inner blocks we build ourselves. They're not imposed by others. They rise every time you say, "I'm not enough." There's never enough. I never get lucky. Every phrase becomes a brick stacking, higher distancing you from the door to your fullness. But here's the good news. Florence also showed us how to bring that wall down. Not with force, not with frustration, but with a word spoken from an awakened mind. She wrote, "The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace." One sentence, but that one line is a command powered by unwavering belief. What Florence left behind is not just knowledge, it's living wisdom. Her affirmations weren't meant to be recited like spells. They were designed to awaken the soul, to remind you that you are always guided, there is always a way, and you are always enough. That door you long to open may look different for everyone. For one person, it's a dream career. For another, a healing relationship. For you, it might be peace after a long season of exhaustion. Whatever it is, it exists. It's not out of reach. You simply haven't spoken the right vibrational password yet. Florence once said, "Your word is your wand. The words you speak reshape reality." So if every sentence you say is like casting a spell into the universe, will you keep saying "I'm stuck," or will you begin saying "I am being guided and I am stepping into my own promised land"? This video isn't about chasing luck. It's about showing you Florence's spiritual system for opening that door layer by layer through 5 powerful spiritual keys. No, you don't need to quit your job. No, you don't need to meditate for hours. You only need the courage to begin shifting from within. Because, as Florence said, success is not a secret, it is a system. And you, the one reading these words right now, you already hold everything you need to walk through that door. You don't need permission, you don't need someone else to open it for you. You only need to remember the truth. You are the one who was chosen. So tell me, are you ready to discover the first key? Every soul has a divine door to success. There's a truth few people are ever told: you were designed for success. Not the kind the world shouts about: fame, wealth, status, but a success that bears your soul's fingerprint. The kind that makes you pause and say, this feels right. Florence Scovel Shinn called it your divine design. A sacred blueprint your soul agreed to long before you ever set foot on this earth. But then you grew up. You entered a noisy world where everyone seemed to be chasing the same door. The door of achievements, comparisons, and validation. And you began to wonder if everyone is headed that way. Is there even a path left for me? You started to doubt. You tucked away old dreams. You chose safety over soul. And step by step, you drifted from your divine design. Florence once said, "God has a perfect plan for your life, and when you follow your intuitive leads, you are led to your own promised land. When you ignore that inner pull, when you stray from your soul's role, no amount of external success can fill the ache inside. You may win on paper, but lose your sense of truth. The door of success made just for you, no one else can walk through it. But to unlock it, you must first dismantle the invisible wall blocking your way, the wall of Jericho." Florence used that symbol to represent inner resistance. It's not built by society or your past. You built it brick by brick every time you said, "I'm not worthy. I'm always behind. I never get it right." This wall doesn't make you small. It just makes you forget that you were chosen. One woman Florence helped had spent years chasing success, attending every course, reading every self-help book. But nothing worked. Florence didn't hand her a new method. She gave her a vibrational key, a spiritual password, to unlock her soul's path. The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace. It seemed simple, but spoken with belief, it shifted her energy. And within days, her life began to move in ways she never expected. Florence never taught people to accumulate more. She taught them to shed what never belonged so their true path could finally reveal itself. To her, success wasn't a destination. It was a state of alignment with your intuition and your spoken word. So if you feel lost today, it's not because you've failed. It's simply because you've forgotten there is a door made just for you. No one can steal it. No one else can enter. And no one can close it except you, Florence said. There is a place you are to fill, and no one else can fill it. So instead of forcing your way into someone else's path, pause and ask, where is the path made just for me? The answer won't come from outside. It will rise from within, from the still sacred voice that's been whispering to you all along, even in your most forgotten dreams. Listen to your heart. When you do something that makes you come alive, when time disappears, when your soul stirs, that's the signal. You're drawing closer to your divine door. When you dare to say, I don't have to be like anyone else, I only have to be fully truly me, you are walking back into alignment. You are not alone on this path. There are many souls awakening, remembering they don't need permission to succeed. They only need to reconnect with their soul. And if you're reading this right now, you are part of that awakening. I invite you to affirm it with me in the comments below. I now step into the door made for my soul under grace and in faith. You may be surprised how many others write that same sentence. And in that sacred space, you'll realize you are never walking this path alone. You are stepping into a community of light, a space where spiritual remembrance is spreading one soul at a time. In the next part, we'll explore one of the most powerful keys Florence gave us to unlock that door. The power of words, the force that can build the wall or bring it down, depending on whether you speak from faith or from fear. So tell me, are you ready to hear the whisper of your soul? The power of words, the spiritual key you've always held. Can you remember the last time you said to yourself, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or bad things always happen to me? Maybe it was just this morning. Maybe it was that silent loop playing in your mind before a meeting. Or maybe you've said it so many times for so long that you no longer even notice. Florence Scovel Shinn once wrote, "You live in a world made by your word." And this wasn't just poetic language. It was a spiritual law. Every word you speak sends out a vibrational frequency into the universe, and that frequency returns like a seed flowering into form. So if you feel stuck in a pattern of failure, delay, or frustration, start by asking yourself, what words have I been planting? Words are not just sounds. They are summoning commands, the soul's instructions, to the creative field of reality. And when paired with faith, your words become a spiritual key that unlocks doors no hand can force open. Florence called it, your word is your wand. Your magic wand is not in someone else's hand. It's in your mouth. But remember, a wand only works when the one holding it knows who they are. If you speak affirmations while still doubting inside, your energy becomes fractured. That's why belief, emotion, and speech must form a sacred triangle working together in harmony. Florence never taught us to use words to manipulate outcomes. She taught us to use words to realign with our soul's original frequency, the one where all good things already await us. Imagine this. You're walking a path, and each step forward is shaped by the words you speak. If you keep repeating, "I always get rejected," then every step carries you toward that very experience. But if you say instead, "I am always chosen at the right time, by the right people," in the right place, you shift your path. You turn into a new current of possibility. One of Florence's American clients once confessed, "I always say that money never stays with me. And it's true, no matter how much I make, I lose it all." Florence didn't tell her to work harder or save more. She simply said, "Change your script." She gave her a new declaration. "Money comes to me easily, and I keep it with grace and joy." Within weeks, the woman noticed old debts dissolving and unexpected savings opportunities appearing. Because when you change your words, you redirect your entire energy ship. This isn't superstition. It's the law of vibration, now even supported by quantum science. What you emit, you attract. So here's something I want you to try today. Write down 3 negative phrases you often say about yourself. Rewrite them into high vibration declarations filled with faith. Speak them aloud each morning and feel them as if they're already real. Here are a few examples. I'm always delayed. Everything arrives for me in perfect timing. I'm not good enough. I am the perfect expression of a divine design. I don't know what I'm doing. I am clearly guided step by step in grace. You don't have to do this alone. Right now, I invite you to share one spiritual affirmation in the comments below. Just one line. One truth. But when you write it, you're engraving it into the collective field of awakened souls gathered here. You can start with, "I am ready to speak what my soul has always believed is true." Or craft your own as long as it carries the vibration of gratitude, trust, and self-honoring truth. You may be amazed at what begins to shift. Not instantly, but in the way Florence always described it. Under grace, in perfect ways. And if you've been asking, "I've said so many affirmations, why hasn't anything changed?" Perhaps the next step isn't to say more. Perhaps it's time to become the vibration of what you say. To live it, to breathe it, to be the match to the reality you desire. That's what we'll explore next. How to live fully with joy and soul frequency, not just speaking, but becoming. So tell me, are you ready to speak the reality your soul came here to live? Enthusiasm is the soul's signal, knocking on the door of success. If you've ever sat through a long day doing everything right without a single mistake, yet feeling completely empty inside, then you've tasted what it's like to live outside the signal of your soul. Florence Scovel Shinn once said, "When you are doing what you love, the door opens effortlessly." In other words, when you follow what excites your spirit, the right door opens on its own. It may sound mystical, but it's really a simple spiritual law. Joy is the map your soul gives you. And enthusiasm is the sign that you're walking the right path. In the modern world, people often confuse the ego's desires, fame, fast money, admiration with the soul's motivation, that quiet, radiant pull that makes you lose track of time and lights up every cell in your body. Florence called this righteous desire the desire that comes not from lack, but from a deep knowing that you're being called into your sacred role. Think back to a moment when you felt most alive. Not because of money, not because of achievement, but because you belonged in that moment. Maybe it was sharing your wisdom. Maybe it was writing something that moved someone, healing, creating, or simply listening with your whole heart. You might think, but that won't pay the bills. But Florence reminded us, when man aligns with his divine design, supply comes effortlessly. This doesn't mean you quit everything and chase a fantasy. It means you begin nurturing what stirs your soul every single day as a spiritual practice. Because enthusiasm is not just emotion, it's a frequency, a broadcast to the universe that says, "I am ready for the right door to open." Florence once told the story of a woman who loved writing but was afraid no one would read her work. After years in an admin job, she finally began to write again, not for fame, but because her soul refused to stay silent. A few months later, a local magazine found her personal blog and offered her a weekly column. That new path didn't come from pushing. It came as a response to the energy of joy she had quietly released into the world. And you can do the same. Start by writing down 3 things you've once loved, even if they seem small. Then choose one and do it for 10 minutes a day with your whole heart. Don't wait for payment. Let it be the sound of you knocking on the universe's door. And know this, you are not alone. This community is a space for souls reconnecting to their light. Comment below and share. What have I once loved but abandoned out of fear? Write it not just to release it, but to witness your soul in front of the universe. You don't need to succeed instantly. You just need to become more yourself each day. And joy will lead you where you're meant to be. If you're standing at a crossroads today, remember Florence's words. The divine pattern is already perfect. Just say yes to the next lighted step. The blueprint for your soul already exists. All you have to do is say yes to the next clear, illuminated step in front of you. In the next part, I'll share one of Florence's most powerful messages. The miraculous door, the place where soul desires gather and success arrives effortlessly. It's the moment when you no longer knock on the door finds you. Stay with me. Because what's coming next is the spiritual blueprint your heart has been waiting for. The miraculous door where magic happens under grace. There is one truth Florence Scovel Shinn repeated over and over again. You don't open the door to success by force. The door opens to you at the right time, in the right place, with the right people. When you are in tune with unconditional faith, this is where many people stumble. They've learned to affirm the good. They've found their passion again. But the door still doesn't open. Why? Because a quiet doubt still lingers beneath the surface. Because a tiny whisper still asks, "But what if it doesn't happen?" Florence called that whisper the monster of fear, a force that can knock your vibration off track in a single breath. And to open the miraculous door, you don't need to knock louder. You need to believe fully and unconditionally. What does unconditional faith mean? It means you don't need to know when or how your soul's desire will arrive. You simply know, I have sent out my soul's desire. I trust it has been received. I now live as if it is already fulfilled under grace and in perfect ways. This is the soul posture Florence called the attitude of expectancy, as if what you asked for is already on its way, even if your eyes haven't seen it yet. It's like ordering something online. You don't check the front door every 5 minutes. You go about your day because you trust it will arrive on time. Spiritual faith is the same, only deeper. It's built on inner certainty, not outer evidence. One of Florence's most powerful affirmations was, "I cast this burden on the Christ within, and I go free." It means you're no longer clinging to outcomes. You're at peace, you're open, you trust. Because it's that very state, not forceful words, that truly unlocks the miraculous door. Imagine this. 2 people are both hoping for a breakthrough. The first person says powerful affirmations daily, but deep down still fears failure, still believes they're not enough. The second says very little, but each time they speak, their heart believes as if their desire has already been written in the stars. Who do you think will reach that miraculous moment? The one who lives in faith. The one who not only says I deserve this, but feels it in every cell of their being. Florence once shared the story of a man trying to expand his business, but every door seemed to be closed. Instead of giving up, he wrote this affirmation: "The perfect door is now open for me under grace, and I am entering my promised land." Just days later, a surprising opportunity came from a direction he never expected. Not through logic, not through hustle, but through the energy of full surrender and quiet confidence. So today I invite you into a new spiritual posture, not to strive for the miraculous, but to live as if the miracle is already unfolding. Comment below with your own faith declaration. I release the burden and I step into my promised land. I live by faith, not by proof. I know the door is opening even if I can't see it yet. Every word you write is a gentle knock on the miraculous door. And when you're truly ready, the door will open so softly you'll wonder, why didn't I see this sooner? Unconditional faith is not a test, it's an invitation. An invitation to leave behind the limits of logic and step into the kingdom of certainty. And if you're thinking, I've tried this before, but my faith doesn't feel strong enough, don't worry. Florence offered a gentle remedy for that too. You don't have to do it all. Just say, give me the faith I lack. Ask for the faith you don't yet have, and it will be given. You don't need to be a spiritual superhero. You just need to be honest with your heart and open to support from the higher power within. In the next and final part, I'll share the last missing piece. How to keep the miraculous door open. How to live in the divine flow, not just once, but every day, where success isn't a one-time event, but a way of being. Because when you know how to hold your faith, nurture your joy, and sustain your soul's vibration, you don't just walk through the door. You become the door through which miracles enter this world. Living as an open door when success becomes a spiritual state. Imagine this. You are no longer someone searching for the door to success. You are the open door, the space through which miracles flow continuously and effortlessly. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't just teach us how to knock on the right doors. She taught us how to become the door. What does that mean? It means you stop living from a place of hoping, chasing, or waiting for something good to finally happen. And instead, you live from the deep certainty that good is already flowing through you right now. When you reach that state, you no longer try to hold on to success, because you become a magnet for all that is right for you. Florence called this living in grace. It's not about experiencing the occasional miracle. It's about miracles becoming the new normal. You speak, and it comes to pass. You feel, and it attracts. You act, and life flows as if an invisible hand is guiding your every step. But to stay in that flow, you must consistently nourish 3 core spiritual practices. 1. Daily spiritual awareness. You can't keep the door open if it becomes clouded by dust, the dust of fear, worry, or comparison. Every morning ask yourself, am I living from faith or from fear? What energy am I sending out into the world today? Choose again. Clean your inner space with affirmations, gratitude, and quiet moments of truth. 2. Unconditional gratitude. Florence wrote, gratitude is the open door to abundance. Gratitude not only when things go your way, but especially when you're still in the middle of the journey. When you give thanks for what hasn't yet arrived as if it already has, you accelerate the receiving. You're telling the universe, I fully trust in the divine arrangement. 3. Sharing your light with others. Those who live at a high vibration don't hoard the light. They become the channel, an open living door, through which others find their way back to their own source. And that's you. You don't need to be a spiritual master. You just need to share your honest journey. A comment, an encouragement, a healing video, a real story from your soul. Because every time you shine your light outward, you widen the door within yourself. I invite you to comment below. I choose to become the door through which good flows. And if you've ever experienced a quiet miracle, one of those soft, sacred moments where something shifted without explanation, share it. Your story might be the light someone else needs to find their way today. You're not just a student of Florence. You are an inheritor. You are living her teachings not in lofty sermons, but in the sacredness of your everyday life. In the next and final part of this journey, we'll bring all the pieces together from the very first key to the final door. And you'll realize something powerful. You never had to go anywhere, because every door you've ever sought has always lived inside of you. Every step is a door. Every word is a key. If you've listened all the way to this point, then I believe one thing with absolute clarity. You didn't stumble upon this video by chance. You were guided here at the right time, in the right state, to remember this one truth. Success isn't something out there. Success is living in alignment with your soul's divine design. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't give us a pre-made path. She placed in our hands a spiritual compass, one that doesn't need GPS, doesn't need a map. Only one thing: unconditional faith. And now, after walking through each sacred doorway, the door of the word, the door of intuition, the door of joy, the door of faith, the door of becoming, you can look back and see it clearly. What you were seeking all along has always lived within you. You no longer have to beg for good things to come to you. You only have to say yes to the truth that you are worthy of them. Because in the world Florence saw every soul has a place in the divine plan, no one is left out, no one is forgotten. And when you speak the right word and hold the frequency of love, the door will open. So, are you ready to become the keeper of your own key? Comment below with your declaration. I am the open door, and I am ready. I walk forward without fear, knowing all good is coming. I live in success in spirit, in love, and in grace. Tell me how this journey has moved you. Was there something that awakened you, a single sentence, that made you want to rise and act? Share your truth. Because your words might be the light someone else needs to find their way again. And if you want to continue receiving healing messages like this, hit subscribe, tap the bell so you never miss a video. And if this touched your heart, share it with someone searching for their way home. You are not alone. We are building a community of light, one that opens the doors once thought impossible. Because when you return to your spiritual essence, you don't just live your life, you awaken the soul of the world. And remember, just as Florence said, I look with wonder at that which is before me. So go forward with gratitude, with awe, and with trust. Because what lies ahead is the sacred land your soul has always known it was meant to reach.